December 17th emergency. Only 10 seconds left. Archangel Michael says, I saw your future and a trap. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because you did not arrive here by chance. You were guided here at a moment when time feels compressed for a reason, when your spirit is being asked to wake up before a door quietly closes or a pattern quietly repeats. Don't scroll, stay with me, because December 17th is not just a date on a calendar, it is a spiritual checkpoint. A pause in the flow where heaven leans in close and says, pay attention. Now, listen to this. Archangel Michael's presence comes with protection, courage, and truth, not fear, not panic, but clarity that arrives right when you need it. And if your chest feels tight or your intuition feels alert as you hear this, that's confirmation, not anxiety. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. There is a future path opening in front of you, bright, steady, aligned. But there is also a familiar detour nearby, a trap that looks gentle, reasonable, even loving. On the surface, and that's why it's dangerous, listen to this, traps are rarely loud, they're quiet, they sound like, just one more chance, just wait a little longer, this feels familiar so it must be right, and Archangel Michael does not reveal traps to scare you. He reveals them so you can walk freely without regret. Don't scroll, because you've been here before in other forms, other faces, other seasons, and your soul remembers the cost. Listen to this, you've been seeing signs leading up to now, angel numbers flashing when you least expect them, 1111 when you imagine your future, 222 when you question balance or commitment, 333 when you silently ask for guidance, 44 when you need reassurance that you're protected. These are not coincidences, this is the universe tapping you on the shoulder saying, you're not alone, and you're not wrong. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. December 17th carries the energy of decision, not forced action, but conscious awareness, the kind where once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Listen to this. Archangel Michael says he saw your future, and your future is lighter than your past, calmer than your fears, and stronger than you realize. But the trap appears because growth always triggers resistance from old patterns. Don't scroll, because the trap is not always a person, sometimes it's a mindset, a habit of self-sacrifice, a tendency to choose comfort over alignment, a pull toward what's familiar instead of what's destined. Listen to this, you are in a spiritual awakening season. And awakening doesn't always feel peaceful at first, it feels like awareness sharpening, like tolerance shrinking, like your soul saying, I can't pretend anymore. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. Soulmate energy does not trap you, it expands you, it does not rush you, it steadies you, and if something or someone is asking you to ignore your intuition, hurry your healing, or doubt your worth, that is not destiny, that is the trap Archangel Michael is pointing out. Listen to this. You may feel pulled in two directions right now. One path feels familiar, emotionally charged, even comforting. The other feels quieter, unknown, but peaceful. Don't scroll, because peace is the clue, peace is the signature of alignment, and chaos dressed up as passion is how the trap tries to pull you back. Listen to this. Your heart has been tired of repeating lessons, tired of carrying emotional weight that isn't yours, tired of shrinking to keep connections alive. And December 17th marks the moment where awareness replaces endurance. Don't scroll, because this is not about judgment. It's about liberation. Archangel Michael's message is not, run, it's, see, because once you see clearly, you naturally choose differently. Listen to this. The trap loses its power the moment you stop negotiating with it, the moment you stop explaining yourself to people who benefit from your confusion, the moment you trust that your intuition is not fear, it's foresight. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. You are not being tested, you are being protected, you are not late. You are right on time. The urgency you feel is not pressure, it's alignment snapping into place. Listen to this: after December 17th, things shift subtly but permanently. Conversations feel different, options feel clearer, your body relaxes where it used to brace itself. That's not coincidence, that's the trap dissolving. Don't scroll, because you've been preparing for this moment through every lesson, every disappointment. Every time you chose growth over comfort. Archangel Michael does not walk ahead of you to frighten you, he walks beside you to strengthen you. Listen to this: you are allowed to choose clarity over familiarity, peace over intensity, destiny over distraction, and nothing meant for you will require you to betray your inner knowing to keep it. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final reassurance right now. The future Archangel Michael saw for you is not built on fear, rushing, or self-doubt. It's built on calm confidence, mutual love, spiritual alignment, and freedom from old cycles, and the trap only exists to remind you how far you've come. Listen to this, take a breath, you are protected, guided, and seen. December 17th is not an ending, it's a safeguard. A moment where the universe steps in and says, choose awareness, and the rest will unfold naturally. Don't scroll, stay present, trust what you feel, because the moment you honor this knowing, the path ahead clears in ways you didn't think were possible, and your future breathes easier. Because you chose truth in time. Don't scroll, listen to this message is for you. And your heart needs this right now, because what unfolds next is the layer that explains why the urgency felt real and why the warning carried calm instead of fear. You are not being rushed into panic, you are being ushered into awareness, and awareness changes outcomes instantly. Listen closely, the energy around you has been tightening for a reason. Like the final moments before a storm passes or a decision locks in, and heaven compresses time like this only when a soul is ready to choose alignment over habit. Don't scroll, stay here, because this is where Archangel Michael's message deepens, not with threats, but with truth. The trap he showed was not designed to hurt you, it was designed to repeat you, to loop you back into a version of yourself you have already outgrown. And that's why it looked familiar, comforting, reasonable, even loving on the surface. Listen to this, traps rarely announce themselves as danger. They announce themselves as exceptions, as this time is different, as just one more conversation, as I'll know better next time. And you've said those words before, haven't you? Not because you were weak, but because you were hopeful. Don't scroll, because hope without boundaries becomes a doorway back into cycles. And cycles are what December 17th came to interrupt. Listen to this. Archangel Michael's role is protection through clarity, and clarity arrived because your intuition has been strengthening quietly for months, maybe years, sharpening through disappointments, deepening through silence, maturing through restraint, and that's why the message landed gently instead of violently. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. You were not seconds away from destruction, you were seconds away from repetition, and repetition is subtle but costly. Listen to this. The universe has been sending you confirmations all along, angel numbers appearing at the exact moments you doubted yourself. 111 when you felt ready to begin again, 222 when you questioned balance in love or partnership, 333 when you asked for guidance without saying it out loud, 444 when you needed to feel protected, 5 55 When you sensed change approaching but couldn't name it, these were breadcrumbs, not warnings, breadcrumbs leading you to this moment of clarity. Don't scroll, because the trap was also tied to timing. It wanted you to rush, to decide before listening fully, to act before feeling settled, and heaven does not rush aligned decisions, it steadies them. Listen to this, soulmate energy is not frantic. It does not demand immediate answers, it does not pressure you to override your intuition, it meets you where you are and grows with you, and if something felt urgent but destabilizing, that was your sign. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. The future Archangel Michael showed was not dramatic, it was peaceful, grounded, consistent, a future where your nervous system rests instead of braces, where love feels mutual instead of confusing, where choices feel clear instead of emotionally charged. And the trap existed only because that future required you to finally choose yourself without apology. Listen to this, choosing yourself is not rejection, it's redirection, and redirection feels uncomfortable only because you're stepping out of an old pattern. Don't scroll, because this is where the cliffhanger turns into empowerment. After December 17th, you may notice subtle shifts, conversations that lose their emotional grip, options that suddenly feel less appealing. A calm resolve settling in your chest where anxiety used to live. That's not indifference. That's alignment locking in. Listen to this, the universe often seals lessons quietly, without drama, because drama keeps you emotionally attached, and clarity sets you free. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance. You did not miss anything by pausing, you did not lose anything by listening, you gained foresight, and foresight is a spiritual gift. Listen to this, if a person, opportunity, or choice begins to fall away after this moment, let it. What is aligned does not dissolve. Under awareness, it strengthens. What is not aligned cannot survive clarity, and that is mercy, not loss. Don't scroll, because the trap also fed on self-doubt, on the idea that you needed to hurry before you were too late, and Archangel Michael's message breaks that illusion completely. You are never late to alignment. Timing bends around truth. Listen to this, spiritual awakening often arrives as discernment first, then peace, then momentum, and you are in the discernment to peace. Transition now. Don't scroll, stay here, because your heart needs this anchoring. You are not alone in this choice. Unseen forces have been guiding you gently, placing pauses where you wanted speed, stillness where you wanted answers, because stillness reveals what noise hides. Listen to this, the emergency was not about fear, it was about focus, about bringing your attention back to your inner knowing before an old habit reclaimed it. Don't scroll, because this moment will echo forward. Choices made now ripple differently, conversations land differently, boundaries feel easier to hold, and that's because alignment reduces effort. Listen to this, the soulmate path ahead is not something you chase, it's something that recognizes you, and recognition does not feel frantic, it feels familiar in a calm way, safe in a grounded way. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final reassurance right now. Archangel Michael's protection does not end with the warning, it continues. Through strength, courage, and confidence, you are being supported to choose what expands you, not what repeats you. Listen to this, if doubt tries to creep back in, remember how calm the message felt, how steady the knowing was. That calm is your compass. Don't scroll, stay present, because this unfolding is still working in your favor. Doors are aligning, paths are clearing, and the future that was shown to you is already responding to your awareness. Trust that what is meant for you moves toward you when you choose clarity, and know this, you were warned not because you were vulnerable, but because you were ready, and readiness changes everything. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what you are stepping into is the deeper layer of what was already revealed, the part that explains why the warning felt calm instead of frightening and why your body felt relief instead of panic when you heard it. This is not coincidence, this is confirmation, and heaven does not confirm lightly. Listen closely. After awareness comes understanding, and after understanding comes choice, and right. Now you are standing in the space where choice quietly reshapes destiny. Don't scroll, stay here, because this is where many people look away, but you didn't, and that tells me your spirit is ready. The trap Archangel Michael showed was not dramatic because the most dangerous traps are familiar. They were the faces of old patterns, old emotions, old versions of yourself that once needed survival more than alignment. Listen to this. The reason it felt so subtle is because it was connected to comfort, to nostalgia, to emotional memory, to that voice that says, I know this pain, so at least it's predictable, and heaven interrupts predictability when it blocks growth. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. You were not being pulled towards something new, you were being pulled back towards something you already mastered, and mastery means you don't need to repeat the lesson to prove you learned it. Listen to this. Spiritual awakening often reaches a phase where the lesson is no longer about endurance, it's about discernment, no longer about surviving, but about choosing differently even when the old option still feels emotionally loud. Don't scroll, because the universe noticed when your reactions changed, when your tolerance lowered, when your intuition started speaking before your mind could rationalize things away. Those were signs you had outgrown the cycle. And December energy arrived to seal that growth. Listen to this. After the warning, many people expect chaos, but what often comes instead is quiet, a stillness where you notice how much effort you were using to hold something together, and how little effort peace requires. Don't scroll, because that contrast is the lesson. Peace does not beg, rush, or pressure. It simply is, and the trap relied on urgency, on emotional gravity, on the fear that if you didn't act now you'd miss something. Listen to this. Missing alignment is never a loss, but missing awareness is costly, and awareness is what you chose by staying here. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. You did not need to fight anything, argue with anyone, or prove your worth. The trap dissolved because you saw it, and seeing is enough. Listen to this. Angel numbers may have shifted since then. Maybe you've seen fewer or different ones. Maybe 444 showed up less because protection did its job. Maybe 111 appears now because a new beginning has quietly opened. These changes are subtle but meaningful. Don't scroll, because your body already knows something is different. Maybe your chest feels lighter, maybe you're sleeping deeper, maybe you're less reactive to things that used to hook you emotionally. That's not detachment, that's regulation, that's alignment settling into your nervous system. Listen to this. Soulmate energy after awakening feels different than before. It's not magnetic chaos. It's mutual calm, not intense longing, but quiet recognition. And the trap was tied to an older definition of love, one that required effort, patience, and emotional labor to sustain. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this clarity. You are no longer built for love that costs you peace, and that's not because you've become colder, it's because you've become wiser. Listen to this. The future that was shown to you does not require you to explain yourself repeatedly, does not require you to chase clarity, does not require you to wait in uncertainty. It meets you already standing, already stable, already aligned. Don't scroll, because the universe does not reward urgency, it rewards readiness, and readiness is what you stepped into when you chose awareness over impulse. Listen to this. After moments like this, people often feel a strange mix of relief and grief. Relief because the pressure is gone. Grief because an illusion quietly faded. Both emotions are valid, and neither mean you did something wrong. Don't scroll, because your heart needs permission to let go without dramatizing the release. Some endings do not need closure conversations, they end internally when understanding replaces attachment. Listen to this, the trap was never about punishing you, it was about offering you a final chance to choose differently with full awareness, and you did, simply by listening. Don't scroll. Because this is where momentum shifts, not suddenly, but steadily. You may notice new conversations feel easier, new opportunities feel lighter, or old ones simply lose their grip without effort. That's how alignment works. Listen to this, spiritual protection often looks like reduced effort, not increased struggle. When something is no longer meant to follow you, it becomes harder to access emotionally, and that is mercy. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final anchoring right now. You are not waiting for your future is responding to you, adjusting based on the clarity you chose. Listen to this, nothing meant for you can be lost by awareness, nothing aligned with you can be blocked by patience, and nothing destined for you requires you to rush past your intuition to receive it. Don't scroll, stay present, because this is not the end of the message, it's the integration, the moment where truth settles into the body and becomes lived wisdom. Breathe, feel how calm this feels. That calm is not emptiness, it's space for something better. Matched to who you are now. Listen to this. You were not warned because you were about to fail, you were warned because you were about to succeed in a way that required a different choice, and that choice has already begun unfolding. Trust that, trust yourself, trust the stillness, because when the universe speaks softly and you listen, it means you are exactly where you're meant to be. Don't scroll, listen to this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now. Because what you're feeling is not confusion returning, it's clarity settling deeper, and there is a reason the energy around you feels quieter yet more decisive, like the universe has lowered its voice so you can finally hear yourself. Stay with me, because this is where understanding becomes embodiment, where awareness turns into action without force, and heaven doesn't need to shout anymore because you listened when it mattered. Listen closely. After the warning came calm, and calm is not emptiness, calm is resolution forming beneath the surface. You may notice your reactions changing, your urgency dissolving, your tolerance for emotional noise shrinking, and that is not detachment, that is discernment integrating into your nervous system. Don't scroll, because your heart needs to hear this reassurance right now. The moment you saw the pattern clearly, the trap lost its leverage, and leverage is the only thing repetition feeds on. Listen to this, repetition doesn't survive clarity, it survives doubt, and you stepped out of doubt by choosing awareness. You didn't fight anything, you didn't force an ending, you simply stopped negotiating with what you already knew, and that quiet decision altered the trajectory ahead of you. Don't scroll, because the universe responds instantly to inner alignment. Even when the outer world takes a moment to catch up, you may feel a strange steadiness now, a sense that you don't need to explain yourself anymore, that you don't need to justify pauses or boundaries, that you don't need validation for choosing peace, and that steadiness is not arrogance, it's self-trust returning. Listen to this. Archangel Michael's protection doesn't vanish after the warning, it settles into courage, the courage to hold your ground without hardening your heart, the courage to say no without anger, the courage to choose differently without fear of missing out. Don't scroll, because this is where many people feel tempted to second-guess the calm, to wonder if they overreacted, to romanticize the familiar again. And that's why you're hearing this now. to anchor the knowing before memory tries to soften the truth. Listen to this. If something tries to re-enter your space with urgency, guilt, or emotional pull, notice how your body responds. Notice the contrast between that energy and the peace you've been feeling. Peace does not argue for itself, it simply feels right. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding. The future that opened does not require you to chase, convince, or rescue. It recognizes you as you are now, not as you were when you needed survival more than alignment. Listen to this. Spiritual awakening often includes a phase where silence becomes informative, where what doesn't happen teaches you more than what does, where absence clarifies more than presence ever could, and you are in that phase now. Don't scroll, because the universe is teaching you through ease, not effort, through release, not resistance, through simplicity, not struggle. Listen to this. If you've been seeing different signs lately, fewer urgent synchronicities, fewer emotional triggers, more grounded thoughts, more sleep, more calm, that's not stagnation, that's integration. The lesson has landed. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this affirmation. You didn't miss anything by slowing down, you didn't lose momentum. By choosing stillness, you gain direction, and direction doesn't rush, it guides. Listen to this. Soulmate alignment after awakening feels quieter than before, not because it's weaker, but because it's stable. It doesn't pull you into emotional extremes. It meets you in the middle. It doesn't demand proof of loyalty. It trusts, and the trap you avoided relied on proving, explaining, and enduring. Don't scroll, because your heart is no longer built for endurance as a measure of love. You are built for mutual presence, shared effort, and peace that doesn't have to be earned daily. Listen to this. You may feel grief surface unexpectedly, not because you lost something real, but because an illusion finally dissolved. Allow that grief without judgment. It's part of releasing the identity that had to survive. Don't scroll, because this is where compassion turns inward, where you honor the version of yourself that did the best they could with what they knew, and you thank them for getting you here. Listen to this. After moments like this, life doesn't explode forward, it stabilizes, and stabilization is the foundation of sustainable joy. You may notice your choices becoming simpler, your standards clearer, your energy more protected without effort. That's alignment doing its work. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final anchoring right now. Nothing aligned with your destiny will ask you to abandon your intuition. Nothing meant for you will require urgency to secure it. Nothing true will disappear because you chose clarity. Listen to this. The universe did not pull you back at the last second to frighten you. It did so to free you from repeating what you already mastered, and mastery deserves rest, not another test. Don't scroll, stay present, because what comes next unfolds naturally. Doors that are meant to open do so without resistance. Connections that are meant to last feel steady from the start, and paths that are not aligned quietly fade without drama. Listen to this. Trust the calm, trust the clarity, trust the courage that feels quieter but stronger than anything you've known, because this is the phase where truth stops being a message and becomes a way of moving through the world. And once that happens, your future no longer needs emergency warnings. It flows with intention, protection, and peace. Breathe, stay here, feel the steadiness. This is what alignment feels like when it arrives to stay. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what you're feeling is not the end of a warning, it's the beginning of embodiment, the moment when truth stops being something you understand and starts becoming something you live. And heaven wants you steady for this, not shaken, grounded, not rushed. Stay with me, because this is the layer where calm becomes power, where clarity becomes protection without effort, and where the universe stops. Interrupting because you are finally moving in sync. Listen closely. The urgency you felt before has softened for a reason, not because the message faded, but because you received it, and reception changes energy instantly. You may notice that things that once pulled at you emotionally now feel distant, quieter, less gripping, and that doesn't mean you stopped caring. It means you stopped being controlled by familiarity. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. The trap never needed drama to keep you, it only needed you to doubt yourself, and doubt dissolves the moment self-trust returns. Listen to this, you didn't lose interest, you regained authority over your choices, and authority feels calm, not loud, steady, not urgent. You might find yourself less reactive, less inclined to explain, less willing to revisit conversations that circle without resolution. And that's not avoidance. That's alignment asserting itself. Don't scroll, because this is where many people second-guess the peace, wondering if they're being too detached or too firm. But peace does not require justification, it simply fits. Listen to this, the universe is no longer trying to get your attention because you're already listening, and when that happens, signs shift from flashing lights to subtle confirmations, fewer interruptions, more flow, fewer emotional spikes, more steadiness. And that shift can feel unfamiliar if you've spent years navigating intensity. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding. Intensity is not intimacy, urgency is not destiny, and familiarity is not alignment. Listen to this. The future that opened after awareness is not dramatic, it's dependable. It's the kind of future where you don't brace yourself emotionally, where you don't wake up anxious about what might happen, where your nervous system feels safe enough to rest. And that kind of future cannot coexist with old patterns. Don't scroll, because the universe removed the hook quietly, without confrontation. Because confrontation keeps attachments alive, clarity releases them. Listen to this, if something tries to pull you back with nostalgia, guilt, or emotional memory, notice how it contrasts with the peace you feel now. That contrast is your compass. Peace doesn't argue, it doesn't manipulate, it doesn't demand urgency, it simply feels right. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. You are not meant to rebuild what was already teaching you through exhaustion, you are meant to build something new through ease. Listen to this, spiritual awakening often includes a phase where you grieve what almost was, not because it was meant to be, but because you invested hope, time, and emotion. Allow that grief without attaching meaning to it. Grief does not mean you chose wrong, it means you cared deeply. Don't scroll, because compassion toward yourself is part of protection. You don't need to harden to move forward, you only need to stay honest. Listen to this, honesty doesn't always require words or explanations. Sometimes honesty is simply not returning to what no longer fits. Sometimes it's choosing silence over engagement, stillness over reaction, and that is not avoidance, it is wisdom. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance. Nothing aligned with you will require you to chase clarity, to negotiate boundaries, or to sacrifice your peace repeatedly. Alignment feels mutual, not conditional. Listen to this. You may notice new opportunities appearing without effort, new conversations that feel lighter, new ideas that don't drain you. These are not distractions. They are signals that your energy has shifted, and life responds to energy before it responds to intention. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this anchoring. The version of you that endured confusion did so to learn discernment, and discernment has now replaced endurance. You don't need another test to prove growth. Growth is proven by different choices made with less effort. Listen to this. The calm you feel is not emptiness, it's space, and space is where aligned things can finally reach you. Don't scroll, because many people rush to fill space with noise out of habit, but space is sacred. Space is where intuition becomes clear, where direction forms naturally, where peace stabilizes. Listen to this. If you feel less compelled to explain your decisions to others, that's not withdrawal, that's confidence settling in, you know. Longer need external validation for internal knowing. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final reassurance right now. Choosing clarity did not cost you anything real, it protected you from repeating something that would have delayed you further. Listen to this. The universe doesn't punish awareness, it rewards it with smoother paths, lighter decisions, and connections that don't require emotional labor to maintain. Don't scroll, because the energy around you now supports consistency. Not chaos, presence, not pressure. You may feel more grounded in your body, more decisive in small choices, more patient without forcing yourself to be. Those are signs of integration, not stagnation. Listen to this. Integration is where awakening becomes sustainable, where truth stops being something you revisit and becomes something you rely on. Don't scroll, because this is where life begins to feel less like a test and more like a flow. Challenges still come, but they don't destabilize you. Decisions still matter, but they don't exhaust you. Listen to this. The future responding to you now is shaped by the calm authority you stepped into, and that authority doesn't need emergencies to guide it. It moves with intention, trust, and inner alignment. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final grounding. You are not missing out, you are arriving. You are not losing momentum, you are gaining direction. You are not detaching from love, you are redefining it in a way that honors who you've become. Listen to this. Stay present with the calm, let it teach you, let it guide you, let it settle into your decisions, because this is not a pause before something happens, this is something happening, and it's happening in your favor. Breathe, trust the steadiness, trust the clarity, trust that the universe no longer needs to shout to protect you, because you learned how to listen, and listening changes everything. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because you are standing inside the afterglow of a choice that quietly changed your trajectory, and the universe wants you grounded enough to recognize what that means without second-guessing it. Stay here, breathe, because this is the phase where many people mistake calm for nothing happening, when in truth everything is rearranging beneath the surface. Listen closely. The absence of urgency is not the absence of movement, it's the sign that alignment has taken the wheel, and alignment moves with steadiness, not force. You may notice your thoughts slowing, your reactions softening, your need to check or chase fading, and that shift can feel unfamiliar if you were conditioned to equate love, purpose, or destiny with intensity. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reminder right now. Intensity is loud but temporary. Steadiness is quiet but lasting, and you have crossed the threshold from one to the other. Listen to this. After awareness settles, the universe tests nothing, it confirms, and confirmations arrive as ease, as fewer obstacles, as decisions that don't drain you, as conversations that don't spiral. You may find that what once demanded emotional labor now feels optional, even unnecessary. And that's not avoidance, it's sovereignty returning. Don't scroll, because this is where self-trust becomes embodied, not something you repeat to yourself, but something you live. Without thinking, listen to this. Your nervous system is recalibrating to a new baseline where peace is normal instead of rare, where clarity doesn't need reinforcement, where boundaries feel natural rather than defended. And that recalibration can feel strange if you're used to bracing for impact. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance. Nothing is wrong because things feel quieter. Nothing is missing because there's less emotional noise. In fact, the quiet is the proof that protection worked. Listen to this. The universe doesn't keep sending warnings once a lesson is integrated. It shifts into guidance through flow, and flow doesn't shout, it carries. You may notice synchronicities that feel softer now, not flashing numbers demanding attention, but gentle timing, right conversations at the right moment, obstacles dissolving without explanation. These are signs that your inner state and outer path are cooperating. Don't scroll, because this cooperation is what alignment looks like when it stabilizes. Listen to this. You are no longer being asked to prove your growth through resistance. Growth is proven through ease, through choosing rest over reaction, truth over nostalgia, self-respect over old loyalty, and those choices are happening naturally now, not through effort. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding. It's okay if you feel less emotionally charged about things that once consumed you. It doesn't mean you didn't care, it means you completed the lesson, and completion always brings relief. Listen to this. Many people confuse relief with loss because they're used to adrenaline masquerading as love or purpose, but relief is what happens when your soul recognizes safety. Don't scroll, because safety is not boring. It's fertile. It's where creativity, connection, and genuine intimacy grow. Listen to this. The future that is responding to you now does not require you to chase validation, to wait for permission, or to justify your boundaries. It meets you where you stand because you are finally standing firmly in yourself. Don't scroll, because this is the phase where your energy becomes selective without effort, where what doesn't match you simply doesn't linger, where you don't need dramatic endings because alignment does the filtering for you. Listen to this. If you notice fewer emotional spikes, fewer late-night spirals, fewer urges to revisit what hurt you, that's not avoidance, that's healing. Integrating into your daily life. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this affirmation. You didn't harden, you stabilized, you didn't detach, you anchored, you didn't give up on love, you refined your capacity for it. Listen to this. Soulmate alignment after awakening does not knock loudly. It resonates quietly. It feels familiar without chaos, exciting without fear, supportive without pressure. And your body will recognize it because it won't need to brace. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this clarity. The kind of connection meant for you now will not trigger old wounds to keep your attention. It will respect your nervous system enough to let you breathe. Listen to this. You may feel a subtle confidence emerging, not the loud kind that needs to be seen, but the quiet kind that doesn't need approval, and that confidence changes how life meets you. Doors respond to it, people sense it, opportunities align with it. Don't scroll, because this confidence is not ego, it's alignment embodied. Listen to this. After moments of awakening, people often expect fireworks, but what comes instead is consistency, routines that feel supportive, days that feel manageable, emotions that don't swing as wildly, and that is not stagnation, it's sustainability. Don't scroll, because sustainability is what allows destiny to last. Listen to this. The universe is no longer steering you away from danger. It's steering you toward coherence, where your values, choices, and desires agree with each other, and coherence feels like peace you don't have to defend. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reminder. Nothing aligned with you will require you to sacrifice your calm to keep it, nothing true will demand urgency to secure it, and nothing meant for you will punish you for trusting your intuition. Listen to this. If moments of doubt arise, notice how brief they are now, how quickly you return to center. That's resilience formed through awareness. Don't scroll, because resilience doesn't look like endurance anymore, it looks like recovery without drama. Listen to this. You are entering a phase where your time feels more spacious, your decisions feel simpler, and your energy feels more protected without effort. These are not coincidences, they are outcomes. Don't scroll, because outcomes are the universe's way of saying, yes, this is working, listen to this. The calm authority you carry now is magnetic. It doesn't chase, it attracts, it doesn't convince, it aligns, and that changes the quality of everything that approaches you. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final anchoring right now. You are not waiting for something to begin, it has already begun in the way you move, the way you choose, the way you rest, the way you no longer negotiate with what costs you peace. Listen to this. Let the steadiness teach you what alignment feels like in practice. Let the quiet confirm that protection doesn't always arrive as interruption. Sometimes it arrives as ease, and ease is not laziness, it's grace. Don't scroll, stay present with this knowing, because from here forward, your path doesn't need emergencies to correct it. It flows with intention, discernment, and trust, and that flow will continue to reveal what belongs with you and what gently falls away. Without struggle, without fear, without regret. Breathe, feel the steadiness, let it settle. Because this is what it feels like when the universe stops warning and starts walking with you. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what you are standing in is not just calm, it is confirmation settling into your bones. And the universe wants you fully present for this phase, because this is where people often underestimate what's happening and accidentally reach back for what they already released. Stay with me, because this is the moment where alignment tests nothing but your trust in yourself. You are no longer being warned, corrected, or redirected. You are being stabilized. And stabilization can feel unfamiliar when you've lived so long in cycles that required constant vigilance. Listen closely. What feels like nothing happening is actually everything holding, rooting, anchoring, and heaven does this on purpose so you can learn to recognize peace without confusing it for stagnation. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reminder right now. You are not waiting for clarity anymore, you are living inside it, and clarity does not shout, it doesn't chase, it doesn't demand action, it simply creates a sense of, I know, and that knowing is quieter than fear but infinitely stronger. Listen to this. After major awareness shifts, the mind sometimes tries to recreate urgency because urgency once felt like movement, and that's why you may notice fleeting thoughts like, should I be doing more? Or, am I missing something? But those thoughts pass quickly now, because your nervous system no longer believes them. Don't scroll, because that quick return to center is proof of integration, not complacency. Listen to this. Integration is when lessons stop needing reinforcement, when you don't have to remind yourself what you deserve, when boundaries hold without effort, when you don't need closure because understanding already arrived, and you are here now. Even if part of you is still getting used to it, don't scroll, because the universe knows how tempting it can be to fill quiet with noise, to check old doors, just to see, to re-engage familiar energy out of habit rather than desire, and that's why this message is anchoring you again, not because you're at risk, but because anchoring deepens confidence. Listen to this. If something or someone from the past crosses your mind now, notice how different it feels. There's less charge, less pull, less urgency, and that difference is everything, because attachment feeds on emotional charge, and clarity drains it. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance. You didn't lose interest, you resolved something internally, and internal resolution doesn't need external confirmation. Listen to this. The future responding to you now is shaped by the energy you're carrying, and the energy you're carrying is steady, self-trusting, and unhooked from old patterns. Which means what approaches you from here forward will feel different, not dramatic, but dependable, not intoxicating, but nourishing. Don't scroll, because your heart needs to hear this clearly. Soulmate alignment at this stage of awakening does not feel like longing, it feels like recognition, not "I need you," but "I can walk with you," and that shift is subtle but profound. Listen to this. You are no longer magnetized to emotional intensity because your nervous system no longer confuses chaos with connection, and that change alone filters out entire categories of experiences without you having to consciously reject them. Don't scroll, because filtering without force is a sign of maturity, not detachment. Listen to this. You may notice that your standards feel clearer but less rigid, your boundaries feel firm but not defensive, your expectations feel realistic rather than hopeful, and that balance is rare. It only arrives after discernment replaces endurance. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this affirmation. You are not closed, you are calibrated. You are not guarded, you are grounded. Listen to this. Grounded people don't rush decisions because they trust timing, they don't chase answers because they recognize alignment when it appears, and that trust is not blind, it's informed by everything you've lived through. Don't scroll, because this is the phase where confidence becomes quiet. You don't need to announce what you're doing differently, you just do it. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth, your choices speak for you. Listen to this. If you've been feeling less inclined to explain yourself, that's not withdrawal, it's self-respect settling in. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding. Life now meets you with fewer tests because you stop negotiating with lessons you already learned, and when lessons are complete, the universe doesn't repeat them, it moves you forward. Listen to this. Forward does not always mean fast, sometimes it means smooth. And smooth can feel deceptively simple if you're used to struggle. Don't scroll, because simplicity after complexity is a gift, not a lack of depth. Listen to this. The calm you're in is not fragile, it's resilient. It doesn't break under pressure because it's not built on denial, it's built on understanding, and understanding doesn't disappear when challenged. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. You are allowed to trust this phase even if it feels unfamiliar. You don't need to manufacture excitement or urgency to prove something is happening. Something is happening precisely because you don't have to. Listen to this. The universe is now responding to consistency rather than reaction, to coherence rather than effort, to presence rather than persistence. And that shift changes the quality of everything that enters your life. Don't scroll, because your heart needs to hear this clearly. What is meant for you now will not arrive through chaos, pressure, or emotional hooks, it will arrive through mutual readiness, respect, and ease, and your body will recognize it immediately because it won't trigger old survival responses. Listen to this. You may find yourself saying no more easily, resting without guilt, choosing differently without explaining, and those are not small changes, they are structural, they reshape your life at the foundation level. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance. Choosing peace did not make you passive, it made you precise. You are no longer everywhere. You are exactly where you need to be. Listen to this. After awakening, life becomes less about dramatic turning points and more about sustained alignment, and sustained alignment is what allows joy to last. Don't scroll, because lasting joy does not announce itself loudly, it grows quietly, steadily, reliably. Listen to this. You are not missing out on intensity, you are stepping into depth, you are not avoiding challenge. You are choosing challenges that grow you rather than drain you. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final anchoring right now. This phase is not a pause between events, It is a foundation being laid beneath everything that comes next, and foundations are built quietly, intentionally, without spectacle. Listen to this. Trust the steadiness. Trust the lack of urgency. Trust the clarity that doesn't need reinforcement, because from here forward, your path doesn't need constant correction. It moves with coherence, and coherence attracts what belongs with you. Naturally, breathe, stay present, let the calm hold you, because this is what it feels like when the universe stops intervening and starts collaborating with you, and collaboration is where destiny becomes lived experience rather than something you're waiting for. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because you have arrived at the point where the story no longer needs suspense to keep you moving forward, it needs truth to keep you grounded, and heaven wants you to understand what this phase actually is so you don't misinterpret peace as emptiness or calm as stagnation. Stay with me, because this is where many people unconsciously undo their own progress by reaching backward out of habit, not desire. And you are being reminded right now so you don't do that. Listen closely. What you're experiencing is not a pause in destiny, it's a settling of destiny into your body, into your choices, into your daily rhythm, and that settling can feel strange if you've lived most of your life responding to urgency, emotional intensity, or constant course correction. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this clarity right now. The universe is no longer waving flags or sending alarms because you no longer need them. You learned how to listen before things escalate, and that is a spiritual milestone most people never reach. Listen to this. Alignment at this stage feels subtle, almost ordinary, and that's why the mind sometimes questions it, because the mind is used to drama as proof of meaning, but meaning does not need drama. Meaning needs coherence, and coherence is what you are living now. Don't scroll, because this is where self-trust becomes so natural you forget it used to be a struggle. You make decisions without spiraling, you say no without rehearsing explanations, you feel your body relax instead of brace, and these changes might seem small, but they are foundational. Listen to this. Foundations don't announce themselves. They support everything quietly, and that's exactly what's happening now. The universe is no longer adjusting your path sharply because your inner compass is calibrated. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance. You didn't lose passion, you refined it. You didn't lose desire, you clarified it. You didn't become detached, you became anchored. Listen to this. Anchored people don't rush because they trust direction, they don't cling because they trust stability, they don't chase because they recognize alignment when it appears, and that recognition is calm, not intoxicating. Don't scroll, because calm has been misunderstood in a world addicted to intensity. But calm is where real intimacy lives, where sustainable love grows, where purpose stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like presence. Listen to this. If you feel less compelled to figure everything out, that's not avoidance, that's confidence in unfolding. You no longer need to micromanage the future because you trust how you show up in the present. Don't scroll, because that trust changes outcomes more than effort ever could. Listen to this. The version of you that needed constant reassurance has been replaced by a version that reassures themselves through action, boundaries, and alignment, and that shift doesn't need applause, it just works. Don't scroll, because this is where life begins to feel less like a series of tests and more like a conversation. You respond, it responds back, smoothly, without force. Listen to this. The universe is now interacting with you based on who you are, not who you were healing from, and that distinction matters. You're no longer being met with lessons designed to wake you up, you're being met with experiences designed to walk with you. Don't scroll, because walking is different than waking. Waking is abrupt, Walking is steady, and walking is what sustains long journeys. Listen to this, soulmate alignment at this stage doesn't arrive with fireworks, it arrives with familiarity.